Mike Napolitano.
I'm Italian. I get yelled at all the time. This is normal for me. Are you kidding me?
I love it.
With the Italians, we get really high, we get really emotional, and then we bring it right back down. And I'm just in the right back down part right now.
Dalton Cooper.
I think this is the year. I think this is the year he throws for over 4,000 yards. I think Ben Johnson has an understanding of how to take a quarterback and elevate. We've seen what he's done with Jared Goff. Obviously, Jared Goff had gotten to a Super Bowl, and he was working with Sean McVay, but.
And Brandon Combs.
To tell me that a guy in Barry Bonds, who in 2004 had more hits and intentional walks than swings and misses. For a guy who watches Luis Robert and cheers him on, you're going to tell me Barry Bonds does not belong in the Hall of Fame? You are out of your mind, sir.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
Welcome into another Sports Saturday here on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise, myself, Mike Napolitano, and joined by my co-host and usually running the board, Nick Johnston. Nick, how are you doing this morning, my man?
Oh, good. A little bit of a buzzer beater, but got in there literally at the last second. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure commercial break will switch it up, but that's okay. Whatever we got to do. Whatever we got to want to do.
We got it working. We're down a couple gentlemen today. Dalton Cooper has priorities elsewhere, and then Brandon Combs feeling under the weather. So, shout out to him. Hopefully feels a little bit better. He is going to be our reporter for the weekend on the scene for the Crosstown Classic. He was there yesterday.
Great game yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you and I can both agree that was everything that White Sox fans have asked for and more, especially after the first Crosstown series against the Cubs. Don't
remember it. Don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Yeah, man, that was a long time ago. It was not one that White Sox fans want to remember. Yeah. But last night was definitely something to talk about for Sox fans.
Yeah, tons of fun. I mean, got to see Colson Montgomery hit a third straight game with another home run. It was they were just hitting it right from the get-go, just smashing Imanaga. And some people, maybe it was just the comments that I was reading, like they were thinking that he was tipping pitches. I don't think that was the case. The White Sox were just hitting the ball pretty hard yesterday. So he gave up 11 hits, seven runs, Imanaga. And then on the opposite end, it was really nice for the offense, but the big point. I mean, and he gave up that 3-run home run, but Adrian Hauser again, another solid outing. I think at one point through the 6th or the 7th, he only had like 65 pitches. It's really fun to see him. It's a shame we probably won't see him for long in the White Sox threads. Maybe probably see him on the other end of town because they're going to probably need another starter soon. So it was really nice while it lasted. It's really nice just to see the White Sox play how they have been. That's been the fantastic part. So, like 60 plus runs in these last 6 games. So absolutely fantastic. I hopefully it stays this way, but just play spoiler. That's my goal right now for the White Sox.
Yeah, you're right. Shota Imanaga goes only 3 innings, 12 hits given up, 7 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, no walks. Adrian Hauser on the other end of things, 6 2/3 innings. He gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, which came later on in the game, and 3 strikeouts as well as 3 walks. But it was the White Sox who jumped on the Cubs real early on. It was Chase Mydroth homering to left. That was on the first pitch, I believe.
It was the first at bat. It was first couple of pitches, yeah.
Yeah, so White Sox jump off to a 3-0 lead by the end of the first with a Lenin Sosa single that scored Cuero and Slater. And then, of course, the White Sox just kind of added on inning by inning, second inning. Colson Montgomery homer, the third one of his career that you were mentioning, 420 feet for that one. That's a nice one, putting the Sox up at that point. It was 4-0, but then Benintendi singles, Mydroth scores, Slater homers, and Lenin Sosa hits a sacrifice fly. Mike Tauchman homers. I mean, it was just batting practice for the White Sox out there last night. By the end of the 4th inning, it was 9-0. By the end of the 5th, it was 11-0 White Sox. Cubs didn't even get on the board until a 3-run shot from McGuire.
Revenge game
for Reese McGuire. So an 11-3 scoreline there, and then the White Sox would tack on, and the Cubs would tack on in the 9th. 12-5 your final score. I mean, what a way to start out the second half of the Crosstown Classic, but what a way to start out the second half of the season for the White Sox. There's a little gnat in here. I'm going to be annoyed the entire time here. The White Sox, they are 6-1 since the All-Star break, and the offense has been electric, to say the least.
Again, it's just a nice change of pace going from the start of the season, the struggles all from last season to compared to now, which is just I think Steve Stone said it multiple times on his media appearances throughout these last few weeks. It's just you wouldn't be able to tell the way that these kids are acting, playing, the way that they, the way that they are in the dugout, like that. This is a team that's 20 games below 500.
Right.
So it's a breath of fresh air. And again, all doing that basically without Luis Robert all year long. He was out again last night with abductor soreness. So. Again, it was just one of those things where I heard it was like, oh, he's out of the line. I'm like, holding my breath. I'm like, is he going to get traded like right this second? No. Again, just out with another sore appendage or something like that. So, there you go. I might have caught that one. But overall, like I said, just almost polar opposites from last or the beginning of the year to just this offense is just really clicking at the second half of the start. So nice of them to get a little break and get going. On the opposite end for the Cubs, I mean, it's a shame. I don't want to get get an overblown head as a White Sox fan. Let's take it for what it is. It's a really good win against a really good team. But overall, it's just like one of those things. Again, it's just I take it for what it is right now. Probably just getting them at the wrong time. The White Sox are just playing really hot. So if this is the only win in this series, it is what it is. But I again, the writing's on the wall for a really positive future for as of right now with this core. So probably going to see some new faces or some guys on the way out. So again, it's nice while this is lasting. So again, on the opposite end for the Cubs, not the result you want in any sort of way. You couldn't get anything done again against just an ace, or as of right now, just the ace that is Adrian Hauser. I don't know. I wish our guy Brandon was here to kind of jump in a little bit. I also want to razz him up a little bit, of course, but but just to get the Cubs' perspective again, it's just I don't know if this is the break glass in case of emergency. I don't know if this is the panic button just yet, but it might be sometime soon because again, the Brewers are still playing really well. It's a 1-game difference. You're losing to bad teams right now, so it's tough. I don't know which way you want to go.
We talked a little bit about the Cubs slide towards that All-Star game. Of course, they lost 2 out of 3 to Minnesota, who are, struggling this year to stay at 500. They're 50-53. But then, of course, going into that All-Star break, Brandon Combs was talking about how the Cubs had actually gotten swept by the Yankees leading into the All-Star break the year that they won the World Series back in 2016. So, would history repeat itself, and are Cub fans okay with what's going on? Because I think we talked about this last week. There's always a complaint coming out of the north side. There's complaints coming out of the south side, but there's always a complaint coming out of the north side whether the Cubs are doing good or bad. Typically, with the White Sox, there's not a complaint when the White Sox are doing good, but more often than not in recent history, the White Sox have not been doing good. So
trust me. Tell that to the White Sox Pride and Passion page on Facebook.
Gosh. Yeah. Some of that White Sox Twitter and
it's just Facebook in
like,
general.
It's like I can't stand here to sit and listen to the complaints. But Cub fans, their complaints typically, you've got when the Cubs are doing really well, they're doing too well too early on and they're going to run out of gas. Then they get to a point where they're kind of feathering the accelerator a little bit, and they're doing what Cub fans want them to do and kind of take things easy so that they build towards September. And that's kind of what we thought was going on going into that All-Star break with this Cubs team. But then you still had Cub fans out there going, they're losing all these games to bad teams, and this isn't the same team I've been watching. It's like, well, what do you want then? Because you wanted them to kind of ease off, hit the brakes a little bit, lose a couple games, feel things out. You can't win them all. You're not going to go 162-0. You're not going to go 11-0 unless you're the White Sox, and then you go 11-1 in 2005. But I digress. But now you're sitting here, and it's more of a race for first place in that NL Central. So, I mean, I don't think you take your foot off the gas right now of all times because of the fact that the Brewers have overtaken you for that NL lead. The Brewers are 61-42, playing .592
best
baseball.
record in the league, actually.
Yeah, best record in the league. The Cubs are only a game behind. So I think if Brandon was here, he'd say no need to hit the panic button. But 60-43, you're a game back from Milwaukee, and you're looking at a wild card spot. Yeah, but what does that earn you? That earns you a tougher team to play against because you aren't that number one team. You aren't the Dodgers. You're not the Milwaukee Brewers who have been playing incredible. And don't even get me started on the whole trade that sent. I mean, Andrew Vaughn here in Chicago wasn't doing much, but the fact that he has gone on to do a couple of great things with the Brewers, like, I don't know, hit a 3-run shot in his first at-bat with the Brewers, and then I think he went like 5 for 6 in his first at-bats in a Brew Crew sweater. And then the fact that the Brewers hadn't lost for a stretch there leading up to past the All-Star break, where every game that Andrew Vaughn played in was a win. Like, is he a good luck charm all of a sudden? But this Brewers team is hot right now, and you don't want to lose the lead as we're going into August here. You got 2 months left of this season. You want to have that solid command. One thing's for sure is the Cubs can't go wire to wire this year.
Yeah, no.
which is I think what Cubs fans were at least expecting after getting out to a hot start against some team. I mean, yes, they did lose those couple of games in Japan to the Dodgers. So I guess technically they wouldn't have gone wire to wire since day one. But I mean, that was a little weird start to the year. And then they came out the actual gates pretty hot. So they win 2 of 3 against Boston coming back from the All-Star break, but then they lose 2 of 3 to a Kansas City team that absolutely dismantled this Cubs team. A 12-4 win, and it was just another home run derby this side on the north side of town. And it was Jack Caglione homering to left. You had a couple of big innings from this Kansas City Royals team.
Vinny Pasquantino got the Barstool bump. He was over there at Barstool headquarters.
He did.
Then I think he was a day off that same day as his interview, but then the very next day he had hit 2 home runs in the very next game. So,
but I think what really made things spiral in this game is the missed catch out in right field for the Cubs. There were a couple of errors that led to innings opening up for this Kansas City Royals team. And this is a Kansas City Royals team just like that Minnesota Twins team that struggles really to stay above 500. I mean, they got a couple of young stars like Caglione or Bobby Witt Jr. that, and even I guess you could throw Vinny Pasquantino in there. But yet this Cubs team should have made quick work of Kansas City, and yet they didn't. So now they come into this series against the White Sox, already down 1 game, and as we mentioned, a 12-5 shellacking from the Southsiders last night in the start of the crosstown. You've got a 6:10 game today. It'll be Horton on the mound to face Savali, and then Sunday there is no pitcher listed for the Cubs.
Still nothing?
Yeah,
Wow.
still nothing.
It's been all day.
As you said, there's been some pitching issues with the injuries that the Cubs have faced this year. So maybe they're kind of reevaluating who they'll start on Sunday based on how today goes. But the White Sox will have Sean Burke on the mound. Tonight is a 6:10 p.m. start time. Sunday is a 1:10 p.m. start time.
Listen to those games here.
And then the schedule for that Cubs team doesn't get any easier. 6:40 starts on Monday and Tuesday against the Milwaukee Brewers. That'll be really a deciding factor on who's getting a jump on the division going into August. And then Wednesday will be a matinee 1:10 game. Imanaga slated to pitch for that one after his performance last night. So
a couple more games against the Brewers. They do have the 3rd easiest schedule on the way out.
Yes.
So maybe that panic button doesn't need to be hit just yet. However, that series against the Brewers is going to be humongous. Obviously, this rest of this couple series as well is going to be very, very telling. But I don't think this is the number one factor, but clearly the offense, that was helping them a ton. That was getting them through games, them averaging almost like 8 runs a game, something like that very early on. When the bats go a little cold and a little quiet, you see that being a problem. And I don't know if you know, but Kyle Tucker only has 2 extra base hits all month long. One is a home run, one is a double. And it's stuff like that where, all right, maybe he's still getting on, he's still getting a couple, but it's just not the base hits. It's not the run scoring, the big plays that need to be made by, the guy that they want to pay $500 million to. So that could be telling. Again, little less output from Pete Crow Armstrong as of late too. So I don't think that doesn't flip the narrative and say, MVP to 0 all right. No, that's not the case. Obviously, everyone goes through little slumps like that. So. Again, not too panicked. I would say still. I would, As the troll, I would love to just like, come on. Really? You're this you blew that big of a lead to the Brewers? Really? So I love as much as I would love to stir the pot, and it is just still a lot of season left. Still a lot of season left. So we'll see how it plays out.
No doubt. We've got more baseball right here on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise right here. The voice of the Valley, the talk of the town. Myself, Mike Napolitano, and Nick Johnston. More crosstown, and then some football right here on AM 1410.
If your idea of therapy involves a fishing rod, a tree stand, or a campfire, then you need American Outdoors Radio. Host John Cruz speaks your language, whether it's about the best lures, tracking game, or that one buddy who always forgets to bring the beer. John's got the tips to sharpen your aim, the hacks to pack lighter, and the stories to keep you entertained. Again, that's American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz. Saturdays at 7 a.m. on WRMN 1410. Or stream it at WRMN1410.com. Get ready to outfish, outhunt, and outcamp 'em all on American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has 2 convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400. Now for your free car wash, and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs. It's probably the best thing you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
In the middle of the night, everything will be all right if you listen to Coast right here on WRMN, 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Noory with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
This is Larry Jones, and I'd like to talk to you about my bank, American Eagle Bank in South Elgin. Has your bank changed names in the last 10 years? Is your bank another faceless branch with headquarters in another city? Are you tired of earning next to nothing on your savings account or certificates of deposit, or does your personal banker treat you like a stranger? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you're ready for a new banking experience, and American Eagle is the place for you. American Eagle is a locally owned independent bank that's rooted in the community, and American Eagle customers are greeted by name and treated with the respect that they deserve. American Eagle has an innovative program, Eagle Savings, that teaches your children to save while earning prizes and rewards. American Eagle offers great rates on certificates of deposit. My bank is located in South Elgin on Randall Road between the Target and Caputo's and is open Monday through Saturday. Give them a call at 847-742-7400, and a real person will answer the phone. American Eagle Bank, a place where you matter.
Kyle Teal to right field. Back it goes! And Teal, his first big league home run. Last night it was Colson Montgomery, and tonight it's the other rookie for the Sox. And he pulls Chicago within 1 here in the 6th inning.
waiting out a potential double play.
Montgomery deep to right field. Back he goes! His first big league home run. An absolute no-doubter coming here in Tampa. And the Sox only down by 1 now here in the 7th.
Welcome back, AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. You just heard the home runs from the White Sox this past week against the Tampa Bay Rays between rookies Colson Montgomery and Kyle Teel. Their first of their careers. What's up, everybody? Mike Napolitano, joined again by Nick Johnston. We were talking a little bit of baseball, and we'll continue that going into our next break. But it has been an exciting week for the young stars for this White Sox team. We talk about how they really took it to the Cubs last night, and that would include, of course, a Colson Montgomery 3-run shot. So his third home run of his career is a 3-run shot against the rival Chicago Cubs.
Since he's been here with the Sox.
Get out, ball. So far.
He's been rolling. Guys, back to you.
Colson Montgomery just went deep in 3 straight games. He is some kind of player.
It's been really amazing what's happened to him since he took that 2 weeks off.
Since he's been.
Sorry. Who do you know who was getting interviewed during that update?
I'm not sure, but that was courtesy of CHSN, as were the other 2 clips. But it was
sounded a little Hawk Harrelson-y. Get out, ball. I love that. That was good.
It did. It was Brooke Fletcher that was trying to do a dugout interview, and Colson Montgomery said, "Nope, let me steal the show and send it back up to the booth real quick." But yeah, that was amazing. To see the White Sox jump out to that lead.
Now, let me ask you really quick: who had a better weekend, and maybe who had a better Tampa Bay Rays series? Would it be Montgomery getting another home run? He had his first 2 in there. Would it be Kyle Teel getting his first, or would it be Dan Plesac basically saving the season, busting out that T-shirt for all 3 days in that, being able to again basically salvaging the second half of this season? That was great for the internet, and also just great play-by-play or color commentary that entire time between him and Schifrin. So that was pretty nice for that Tampa series.
I
overall.
did see that, yeah, and I don't know if he had worn it at all for the Pittsburgh series. Of course, we kind of buried the lead. The Pittsburgh series was the White Sox first sweep of the season. Now, yes, they didn't have to face superstar pitcher Paul Skeens based on the way the rotation went, but hey, you play who you play, and the White Sox win 4 straight coming out of the All-Star break. The last team to do that, not the White Sox. Never done before in franchise history. In fact, it's the first time that they had gone 3-0 since the All-Star break, since the 2005 season. So that's it. The White Sox going to the playoffs. They're winning it all, but we've got a couple more games.
Saying there's a chance? I don't know.
We've got a couple more games coming up in the future in this White Sox schedule. Of course, they'll have to take on the Philadelphia Phillies starting Monday through Wednesday, and then the Angels next weekend. So it'll get harder and then easier, but 2 more with the Cubs right here. So, but the White Sox 6-1 since the All-Star break. It has been nothing but exciting. But things are heating up on the football front as well, as the Bears are starting right here. AM 1410 WRMN.
Sports with Derek Geyer. Every weeknight from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
He'll have sports thoughts from the center ring of Chicagoland and to the outer rings from across the nation.
Weather from Chicago Cubs,
White Sox,
Bulls,
Bears,
Blackhawks,
Stars,
Fire,
Boomers,
whatever the national story is of the day.
Geyer and his sports czar takes will either have you nodding in agreement,
yelling at the radio,
or in all honesty,
a bit of both.
With the way the Chicagoland sports and sports are in general, there's bound to be
thrills,
chills, and
oh my God moments.
So get your snacks and libations ready,
because this is going to be a wild ride.
Big Top Sports with Derek Geyer's quirky and insightful Fanatics take
will make you feel a little
or a lot better about your Chicagoland sports viewing experiences.
Tune in to Big Top Sports with Derek Geyer every weeknight from 6 p.m.
to 8 p.m.
When disaster strikes, flood or fire, every second counts. At Emergency Construction Group, They specialize in immediate response and same-day service for any residential, commercial, or industrial emergency across the Chicagoland area. With over 30 years of experience, they've got the expertise, manpower, and equipment to handle any size loss fast. They follow strict IICRC guidelines to restore your property the right way, the first time. Their team values transparency, constant communication, and strong ethical standards because your peace of mind matters. Licensed, bonded, and insured, they're here for you 24/7, 365 days a year. Call 855-4ECG now. That's 855-432-4669. Or visit their website at emergencyconstructiongroup.com and let Emergency Construction Group put your life back together one step at a time. That's Emergency Construction Group. Your satisfaction is their passion.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding the unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In the middle of the night, everything will be all right if you listen to Coast to Coast right here on WRMN 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Newry with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Whether you're working third shift or you're just a night owl, catch the most listened to overnight talk radio program in North America, Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Are you dreaming of a getaway? Want to leave the stress of daily life behind? Whether it's a relaxing cruise or an adventurous land escape, planning the perfect vacation doesn't have to be a hassle. At Cruises International, they specialize in vacation destinations, land and sea, making your dreams come true. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, Cruises International isn't just about booking travel. They're your personal concierge, trusted travel advisor, and advocate. Your preferences are unique, and they'll take the time to understand exactly what you're looking for. From personalized service to their global network of specialists, they ensure that your vacation is tailor-made just for you. It's time to plan the vacation of a lifetime. Call 800-255-7447. That's 800-255-7447 today and speak to a cruise and vacation expert. Cruises International. It's time to set sail to your dream destination.
Everyone's completely different. I can tell you, from the moment he's gotten into the building, I'm just blown away by how he approaches everything. I mean, I don't think there's a guy I saw in the building more this summer than him, you know, and it's really a credit for who he wants to be as he continues to get, he's attacking the rehab hard. He wants to be a factor here this fall. Right?
That was Bears' new head coach, Ben Johnson, on Colston Loveland, the Bears' 10th overall pick this most recent draft. So looking to see this Bears team have a little bit of success, not only on the field, but with coaching and in the locker room, and knowing that he wants to attack the field hard is a promising thing for this Colston Loveland.
Just to get exactly that, be the 10th overall pick, get him in there. Reports are that hopefully, exactly that he actually is in training camp. Hopefully, he's going to get actually played up, because there's some reports that he's going to not be participating, at least in most of it. But overall, exactly that. It's been different. A lot of different reports that I've been reading up on. Hasn't been the most positive out of Bears camp overall. But I just kind of tested to just, Ben Johnson coming in, establishing himself, establishing this new team, getting rid of old habits, coaching them up, and this is the time to screw up. The beginning of training camp, just nice and fresh. I'd rather them be screwing up now as opposed to week one, when games matter and everything like that. So if it simply is just having a different mindset, because now you have a different set of head coaches. You have a different set of coaches and coordinators coming in. It's just a different animal because, you gotta unlearn everything you had from Eberflus to now becoming everything that you want to become, a winning brand new franchise basically with Ben Johnson. So again, I'm with it if they're just getting coached up now. Again, the report was that, offense number one had to be taken off basically because they weren't getting to the line quick enough. Another report that I just read up on CBS was that Caleb Williams didn't complete any of his first 5 passes in the 7-on-7 that they have, actually finished with consecutive interceptions. So I don't want to sit here, don't again, talk about panic button, not hitting that at all at this moment right now, because this is just all training camp talk. This is simply that, just getting the cobwebs off, getting all the rust off type deal. Yeah, you're going to learn some bad habits when you get sacked 68 times.
Yeah.
So take the time now in the summer, the last half of it, to unlearn all that garbage and get back into winning ways. So hopefully that's the route for Ben Johnson and the Bears for the rest of the way.
And what's funny to me is I think we've seen, I don't know if it's just people are paying attention to it more, but we've seen a lot of quarterbacks throwing interceptions on their first throw of training camp. Aaron Rodgers, I believe there were like 2 others, but I feel like they're getting clowned for it, and it's like this is where the rust gets shaken off.
It gets overblown, and it gets the most talk about because there's nothing else to talk about. Simply,
right?
There's nothing else to take away from this other than they're feeling a little bit faster because they're not wearing their pads, or just exactly. It's just nice to you can literally smell the football in the air now. It's getting to that point. It's getting to that point where that old nostalgia walking out, you're smelling the grass the way that it is. It's still that little, maybe that hot, muggy feeling for some times of the year. So it's getting to that feeling. But again, just let's not overblow this. This is still, Tyson Bagent isn't coming in anytime soon. We're not doing this already.
Oh, gosh,
type deal. I'm not having that conversation in what? We're still in July.
If we even have to have that conversation this year, other than, of course, barring any, let's pray, no injuries, but like if we even have to have that conversation, then this Bears team is absolutely going nowhere. There's no direction. And I don't think that's the case, but if it comes down to that, I mean, I don't think I'd watch another Bears game for the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
There would be no direction there. There'd be no want or need to win right away from this organization. I don't think that's the case. I'm just saying if that, is the hypothetical, my goodness, that would be horrible.
I think the other biggest takeaway from this week are just like sound bites and everything was, I believe Luther Burden had a little clip, and he just goes, they ask him like, what are you expecting for week 1? He just goes, belt. He goes, we're gonna mess him up essentially. I'm paraphrasing there, but he's hyped, and that both pumped me up going from first guaranteed second rounder for all his guaranteed money. So congrats right there. I think that's really cool. Nice step in the right direction for that. But it just shows like these players are hyped. These guys are hyped. So Monday Night Football, I think the Bears are currently favored at home. This is going to be fantastic, like I said, to hear that mindset. So get all the rust off and let's get to week 1. That's where I want to be already.
Yeah, per Ben Johnson just 18 minutes ago, Luther Burden, who's dealing with a hamstring injury, is still getting closer to a return. So hopefully we will see him returned out on the field and in training camp at least before they start the season. This is going to be a tough start to the season for the Bears. I mean, it is going to be the Vikings in week 1 on Monday Night Football for the entire world to see, and then 6 days later, a Sunday night game against Ben Johnson's former team in the Detroit Lions. And even without him, you still got Dan Campbell there. I mean, I think this Lions team is probably set to take the division. But, I mean, it's how normal Bears schedules have gone. And I say normal as in, like, the last couple of years have been a little bit wonky. But you do tend to start with the division and end with the division. And those games tend to be most important. So I have liked where, in the last couple of seasons, you've kind of shifted the schedule around so that they're playing kind of the divisional games a little bit more in their stride throughout the middle of the season. But in this case, you're gonna start out the gates hot, so you better be ready to go. Who cares about if you go undefeated in the preseason once again like the Bears did last year? It all matters on night 1 on that Monday, September, I forget the date.
It's okay.
But yeah, that first Monday Night Football of the season.
But yeah, almost similar like you were saying, kind of hitting your stride in the middle of the season. That's not always the case. It might be good to sneak one early in the beginning of the year. I mean, we recall the Bengals being really slow to get things started with, so that would be exactly the thing. Another example of like go for the neck while they're weak type deal.
Right.
So just go for it right away. I mean, that could be the case for the Lions where they're probably, they're still going to be dealing with some head scratchers. Like I said, with the different coordinators, there's still going to be a little bit of headache there right away. I don't think it's going to be completely smoothed out. So that would be the right time to maybe take advantage of the Lions. And same thing kind of with the Vikings, where I don't know if you saw, but again, similar report on CBS with some training camp talk. Kevin O'Connell held out Justin Jefferson with a mild hamstring strain. So not being able to get right away, creating chemistry and creating that connection between Justin Jefferson and J.J. McCarthy, that can help out the Bears a little bit as well. Just kind of like I said, just a little less and less reps, that one less rep that would maybe, make the connection for a big-time play. That's going to help in somewhat right now for the Bears. So, or maybe, like I said, hopefully if they catch one early on with these division games. But Bears have a chance of being 4-0. There's a small little window where I think they could be. Maybe sneak one against the Lions.
It'd be tough to do. What are you predicting as your final Bears record here? Are you thinking? Do you think they get to 10 wins?
I would love 10 wins. I think, like I said, I believe their line is at 8.5 or 9. That should be right where it's going to be at. Again, tough division. If they can steal some wins, that'd be fantastic. But it shouldn't be anything less than 8, 9, 10 win range. If it's back to like the 3, 4, 5, that's going to be just a disaster. Yeah. And I just don't see how that happens other than just, a couple of key pieces getting hurt.
It better not be the case. I think this strength of schedule is a little bit tougher than last year. I don't know if you'd say, especially when you have, you've got the divisional games like we were talking about to start the season, but then you have Baltimore and Cincinnati back-to-back.
That back-to-back one is going to be brutal.
So you have the defending champs and the Philadelphia Eagles in there in the mix. Pittsburgh is always good for an 8-9 season or a 9-8 season, so expect them to be kind of right where the Bears should be as well. So that could be neck and neck. But I don't know. Do you think that this is an easier schedule than last year? Or you think this is a harder schedule? And I mean, yes, the Bears are supposed to be taking a step forward, but do you think that factors into how many wins, of course, they get by the end of the season? And do you think it ends up looking a little bit like it did last year just because of the increase in this strength and schedule?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I think it's very similar to last year. At least the better part is they don't have that 3 games in 10 days deal.
Yeah, that's true too.
So no Bishop Sycamore schedule on the Bears side of things, but it is those 2 glaring back-to-back weeks where it's the Ravens and the Bengals, and then a couple weeks after that it's going to be the Eagles on prime time for Black Friday,
right?
And then the following week is Packers in Green Bay. So again, you're very late in the season. You're probably that's going to be weeks 14, I believe, against the Packers, something like that.
13 against Philly, and then 14 against Green Bay.
So yeah, that late in the season, again, a lot of people are going to be going through pains and stuff like that. You have when's the Bears bye week? Is that like a
early?
Pretty
it's the
early,
5th, week 5.
Oh yeah, so, again, that can be kind of hard too. Kind of be harsh on the body getting it really too early of a bye week type deal.
Last year, I want to say, was it sometime in December? I think
it was a later one. It was
either
like
week 14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, it was after that London game.
Oh, that's true. Oh, wait, so that might have actually been a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah.
Because, no, Eberflus was still coaching with them at that point, right?
I believe so,
yeah. So that had to have been before November. So I'm remembering that incorrectly. But still, I think later than September. We're talking, well, actually, this is technically, I guess, the first week of October is the bye week. But you go from bye week right to playing the Washington Commanders with Jaden Daniels and had a phenomenal season that I don't think a whole lot of people expected last year. You go in playing a New Orleans team that you could maybe probably steal a win from, or you should steal a win from. But then, like we were saying, you go right into Baltimore and Cincinnati. So that only home game is the one against New Orleans, which I think Bears fans are chalking up to a win there. But you have 3 road games in 4 weeks against teams that are poised to be playoff teams. this year in Washington, Baltimore, and I believe Cincinnati should have a resurgence with Joe Burrow at the helm. It's whether or not their defense can step up to the task. You've got the New York Giants right after that. Abdul Carter, does he play that big of an impact right away? We'll have to see. And then, of course, another divisional game in Minnesota against the Vikings before you get kind of into that nitty-gritty where you're talking about with the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending champs, and then in Green Bay. How much do you think that the Bears fans are talking about how Caleb Williams is undefeated in Green Bay, makes Green Bay really hungry to win this one at home?
Oh, yeah. They're going to be chomping at the bit. I forgot what defender it said, but he was basically just like, all right, we're going to save that. Like, we're going to keep the receipts. So one of the Packers defenders was basically in that mindset. Like, you know what? We're keeping an eye on who's saying what type deal. Again, it was probably just hyped up because of Caleb Williams' rookie year coming in, exactly that, going into enemy territory and getting that last win right before that, and it was nice. But the Packers are going to be just as fired up as the Bears players for sure, without a doubt. So again, that late in the season, you're going to be hitting Jordan Love around Toyotathon, so hopefully we don't get the Jordan Love crazy stat games that end up happening around that time of the year. So it's really interesting to see. Adding, we'll see how Matthew Golden is throughout the year. That was their rookie addition from this season. So they're just so young. They're so young. The Packers are. I think Josh Jacobs is the oldest guy on that team on the offense, and he's 27. So it's crazy to see that. So they're going to be just as hungry to beat the Bears as the Bears are to go into Lambeau or to defend the home field against the Packers. So it's going to be fun. Any division game this year for the NFC North is just going to be must-see TV.
I think, it might be a little bit ignorant to say because of the fact that the Packers don't view the Bears the same way that the Bears view the Packers. But I could argue that their game against Chicago in Lambeau Field after all that talk is maybe the most important game, maybe circled multiple times on the calendar because of how much they want to defend home turf. And we'll see what their mindset is going in. As far as Bears QB, Caleb Williams, his mindset going into the season, he spoke to Sirius XM about that not too long ago.
I think right now is different from when we were here at OTAs for me. The information and things like that is being retained or being talked about in the film room is a little bit different than it was in OTAs. And then obviously through the years, there's so many more layers that I haven't been over yet, that we haven't been over yet, just because it's our first year. And, there's so much more within this offense to be able to unlock it. And obviously we're getting to the point where, like you said, we're self-correcting, doing all these things. And so at some point, before the season, I think we'll keep progressing, obviously. And, hopefully there's a next step. And then, if not, it's going to be the next year and, things like that and game plans and things like that.
The good news is that when you get out there on Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings at Soldier Field and you look in the huddle and see when everybody's in that huddle, all the newbies and the guys on this field with skill that is all unique and different, you're going to have your pick of the litter a little bit. You feel that? I mean, it's a kid in a candy store type of thing for a quarterback, right?
Absolutely. I've been on myself a little bit more about just being able to, go through the reads and just deliver the guys a good, accurate ball. And that's something that we harp on. It's something that, I've been harping on myself about is being able to deliver the best and most accurate ball. First guys open, take it, and let those, those guys that you're talking about, the pick of the litter guys, go make those plays.
So that was Caleb Williams, courtesy of SiriusXM. You kind of heard in there, you heard the voice of Jeff Joniak, who you've heard on this radio station as well here on AM 1410 WRMN, because we are your home for the 2025-26 Chicago Bears. You can listen to every single game right here on AM 1410 WRMN. We'll be covering everything Bears. We might even have some live shows planned. So come on out, see us, enjoy the festivities,
remote action,
and hopefully enjoy a Bears win. But your thoughts after, Caleb Williams shared his thoughts on how he thinks the season's going to go, especially progressing with, you talked about the Green Bay young offense. This Bears offense is pretty young as well.
Again, it's just, I think he kind of made mention to it a little bit, kind of like, unlearning some bad habits. I think he kind of made mention of that. At least he's recognizing it, that yes, he's struggling now. But it sounds like he's like, yeah, exactly that. I'm gonna look forward and kind of just move past it. I'll be able to practice more reps and more reps. I don't want to use this excuse, and I don't think this will be the case. However, can this be a similar thing where he basically has a second rookie year because there's a new head coach? I would only make the comparison to Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville because he has his rookie year with Urban Meyer, and that is again train wreck, absolute disaster. Has to unlearn everything he had that rookie year. Second year with Doug Peterson, a little bit better.
Well, I can see the comparison because everything under Eberflus pretty much total train wreck.
Exactly.
So,
exactly right. Where Urban Meyer and Eberflus are in that same realm, and now Trevor Lawrence / Caleb Williams has to unlearn everything, become better, has to go through all the motions basically all over again. So again, I try and not give them that excuse type deal. Again, we're trying to these are grown men type deal. They should be able to pick it up faster, but. If my back is against the wall, that's the last grenade I have. That's probably what I'm going to go with type deal, where it's just like, you know what? He has to unlearn all these bad habits from a really bad head coach type deal and lob it. So I'll give him the leeway again, where maybe, again, I don't want to call it rookie year number 2, but it should still be a huge step up, and I needs to be that 4,000 passing yard season.
If you think about it just from the quarterback's perspective, this NFC North is extremely young, and you, like you just said there, you basically have 2 quarterbacks in their rookie season. Of course, you have the mainstays over in Detroit with Jared Goff, who is probably, and based on how term your quarterback is, may depend on how these standings come down. So if the Lions are poised to take the division, Jared Goff at the helm. Okay, makes sense, right? Then you have Caleb Williams. Maybe the Bears finish second just because he's got an extra year under his belt, but like you said, has to relearn everything, unlearn bad habits under now new head coach Ben Johnson. Maybe the Bears take second in this division with a 9-8 schedule or 9-8 record. Then you have the Vikings, who are young. They've got some experienced talent in like Justin Jefferson, like you said, maybe injured, but J.J. McCarthy, injured all of last season, had to sit on the sidelines, just basically learn the playbook, and now gets to apply it this year in what should be his rookie season. So kind of weird to say that because last year should have been his rookie season, but it was injuries that riddled him. And then, of course, you have Jordan Love, which, okay, you can't get much more rookie than rookie. So, and Jordan Love has been here for much longer than both Caleb Williams and J.J. McCarthy. Do I think that means that the Packers finish higher, though, in the division? This is where it all becomes a little bit of a crapshoot because it's like, does this Packers team end up being as good as the Packers always tend to be, especially within the division? Or is this the year that they kind of take a little bit more of a step back because they're going a little younger and because they're trying to develop that talent, and this is their quote-unquote rebuild? I'll tell you one thing. A rebuild for the Packers is not going to look like a rebuild for any other team with how quickly they get that rotation of quarterbacks back in and they have the success basically instantly. However, they almost lost to the Bears twice last year.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for a blocked field goal, and then, of course, they did lose at home and Lambeau Field. So if you're losing to a Bears team that kind of had no direction last year and was just kind of like clawing, no pun intended, but clawing for victories after a really bad stretch and throughout a really bad stretch, what does that say about your team?
Same divisional record, 1-5. Again, got that win over the Packers. That was huge. Could have had another one for sure, and maybe even could have snuck one against the Lions too. So that was where the Bears were at last year. And again, that same breath where if they are contending, the Packers were, and they have that really bad divisional stretch. It just kind of shows that they're human. They're beatable. They're not the Packers as of old where it's the Aaron Rodgers led right. Packers squad. So it's definitely a different breed down there. Like I said, it's just when you have Matt LaFleur at the head coaching as a head coach, and that's kind of where I'm excited to see what that's going to be great. The head coaching matchup between the Bears and the Packers. Matt LaFleur countering Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson trying to set up a game plan against Matt LaFleur. That is what should be must-see TV for sure. That is going to be so exciting to watch. Again, you've seen how creative Ben Johnson is, and saw it again against the Bears last year when he had that whole fall over and then the play action pass.
Yeah.
I think that could be the case where it's going to be very interesting to see these matchups for sure. And I would love to, you need to see how different the Bears offense is going to be. I don't know if they're what run game are we going to see from DeAndre Swift? Are we going to get the more production that we saw in his Philly years, or are we going to get kind of a struggle bust of last season type deal? A lot of optimism without a doubt. So this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. I just really hope that the Bears can just take care of the Packers this year.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, you brought him up.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of those that we mentioned through a pick in his very first play during training camp. Okay, big deal. But you think he stays healthy, and do you think he actually makes a dent there? And do you think he still owns the Bears?
Do the Steelers play the Bears this year?
Yes, that'll be week 12 at home here in Chicago. It'll be a noon game on Sunday, November 23rd. So Aaron Rodgers has an opportunity to continue owning the Bears.
Yeah, there is the case there, yeah. I mean, hopefully we get to see the week 1 matchup between the Steelers and Jets with a healthy Justin Fields. He went down with a dislocated toe.
Right.
So hopefully he's back in action. But I personally don't see Rodgers making a full season. It's just it's too much. It's too much to ask for a 40-year-old coming off an Achilles tear.
Yeah.
Who even struggled last season when he came back. I don't believe he had a game over 300 passing yards, and if he did, it was just a really low one. That's my point. I just don't see him lasting throughout the whole year. If he gets to week 12, God bless him.
Honestly, yeah, 41 years old and the new Steelers quarterback. We'll have to see if that picks up throughout the entire season. And
we're making an in-house, like an in-show bet. If he makes it to week 12, I'll wear like a clown nose the rest of the week.
I like it. How
about that? I'll do that. If he makes
it
to week 12, I'll wear a clown nose for the episode. That's fine.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are deep into a couple other seasons. We're going to switch it back over to baseball and talk a little bit of local sports with the Schaumburg Boomers and the Kane County Cougars. But stick around because at 9:30 we will have Brian Teague jumping on. He is a well-known reporter within the Chicagoland area covering Sky, and he was down there for the All-Star game last weekend, so we'll get a little bit of info from here. You're listening to AM 1410 WRMN, myself, Mike Napolitano, and Nick Johnston on the rise.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 9 o'clock.
Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now at Insight Mental Health and Wellness. We can help and treat all types of depression and mental issues. We'll help you use your insurance to get away from it all to a beautiful, sunny, and tranquil vacation-like environment so you can recharge yourself. And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you could take the time off you need from work. Plus, with the Affordable Care Act, your treatment could be 100% covered. If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem, use your insurance and get away from it all. Come to sunny California. Call Insight Mental Health and Wellness now. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. That's 800-419-0287.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You are listening to On the Rise. Myself and Nick Johnston here as we jump into a little bit more baseball here, but local level, as we've got some information on the Schaumburg Boomers and the Kane County Cougars. It was a big week for the Schaumburg Boomers as they went into the week with the All-Star game. Coming off of the All-Star game, and then they had to face a new team to the league. We've got, of course, the Mississippi Mud Monsters that were coming to town. So that was an exciting series for the Boomers. They started that on Tuesday with an 8-5 victory, but then they carried that into Wednesday, and a couple of matinee games. There was a day camp day, and then Thursday was also an early start time. But down 3-2 in the bottom of the ninth, one out, a 3-2 count, and Schaumburg would be looking at possibly losing the second game of this series. That was until Christian Fedko stepped up to the plate.
The ninth. 3-2 pitch. Fedko hits it in the air, high and deep to left. That ball is back. It's got a chance. It's gone! Chalk it up, Boomers win! A 3-run walk-off homer from Christian Fedko. 5-3 your final. Oh, baby. Out comes the water to douse the happy Boomers.
A second.
Who walk it off. Can you go back? Home, winning by the final score.
1 second. I'm recording it.
So a little bit of crazy recording issues going on behind the scenes, but that was courtesy of the Boomers Twitter and Instagram. But Christian Fedko, you may recognize the name. He was the one who made ESPN's top 10 last year for making a phenomenal catch out in right field over the wall.
That just sounded like he definitely had something potted up that you shouldn't have on that one.
Right, yeah.
It's you need some help. Check out Illinois Media School if you need some help on that one.
Yeah, I promise it wasn't on our end.
Yeah,
that
was definitely one input was on when it shouldn't have been type deal.
Right, yeah.
That's on their official page too. They haven't taken that down.
I know, right? But I might have been the only recording they had of this Christian Fedko home run. I hope that's not the case. Tim, we love you. Tim Calderwood, voice of the Schaumburg Boomers. Tim, can we get your raw broadcast of that one? Clip it and send it over to us. That would be great.
Yeah.
But the Boomers did drop the finale of this series against this brand new Mississippi team, a 9-6 loss. But still, the Boomers are chugging along right here. When you take a look at the standings, the Boomers are still hanging on in that, one game back of the Grizzlies currently in the West standings. They're 64-41, playing 641 baseball. The Gateway Grizzlies are 62-41, so they have one more game played, two fewer games played and 2 fewer wins, so their percentage comes out to be a little bit higher. But the Boomers only a game back from this Gateway Grizzlies team and looking to possibly make the playoffs, which is good.
Yes, a Gateway Grizzly. It leads you to other Grizzly Bears and eventually to Black Bears and Brown Bears. And
right, yeah.
it's only the start with this Grizzlies. Yeah. I mean, just back to back. What are these names? The Mud Monsters. I'm also looking at really quick. Their logo is just a fish with some it's pretty cool. I also click on it. The first thing you find is their Mud Monster facial hair policy. There isn't one. It says monsters don't shave, so neither should our ball players.
Taking a little shot at the New York Yankees right there, but no, I love their teal uniforms. I will say, and then their simplistic logo of it, like just an M dripping, but also that fish logo is pretty cool as well. So I mean, welcome addition to the league, and with a name like the Mud Monsters, and yes, those Gateway Grizzlies. That's down near, of course, Gateway, Illinois. So Southern Illinois, right by St. Louis. You have the Gateway Arch and stuff like that. But basically a St. Louis team. So a little bit of that Chicago-St. Louis rivalry that we see in so many other sports, namely hockey and baseball. But you have it here kind of throughout the minor leagues too. And we'll see if the Boomers get a chance to overtake those Grizzlies. You heard me interview one of the Gateway Grizzlies earlier on in the season. That was Teague Conrad. We had that clip here on the show. He has since been picked up by the Minnesota Twins organization, though. So another team,
congrats.
Local. Nice. He's not pitching for the Twins just yet. He's in their system, but working his way up. Yeah, honestly, it's still a win. And yet another team that we Chicagoans have a rivalry with, the Minnesota Twins. Ugh. But let's get into some of what is coming up for this Boomers team. You have a 6:30 start tonight against the Joliet Slammers. The Boomers did get a win last night. Guess who was in attendance? Dave Kaplan last night actually it was Star Wars night, so it was sold out. You had a drone show in accordance with the fireworks show, so that was always an exciting time. We saw their first one last year, and it did not disappoint, so hopefully you got a chance to make it out there. Tonight's game, not sold out. There should be still some tickets available, but get there quick because otherwise it may sell out again. There's another post-game fireworks giveaway, and there's a tumbler giveaway as well. Ooh. Not the Batman tumbler, the actual little one that you put in your dishwasher.
Well, hopefully the weather plays out nice. It looks like it's going to clear up a little bit around 7-ish, so hopefully right around first pitch should be right around when it gets started. Maybe a little bit of a delay, but hopefully, like I said, get out to the ballpark. That'd be great. Hopefully
not too bad. And that's, of course, if you can't make it out to the crosstown itself, you've got baseball right here in Schaumburg. Sunday will be a 1 o'clock game against the Joliet Slammers, and that, of course, is Family Sunday. But then the Boomers go on the road next week. So we'll shift it over to a team that is also at home tonight. If you can't make it out to Schaumburg and you can't make it downtown Chicago, you can head on over to the Kane County Cougars because tonight is going to be Christmas in July. There is a Jack Skellington bobblehead giveaway. That's actually kind of cool. It's a neat little idea. Last night was Wizard of Ozzy night because, of course, let me preface this. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. It has nothing to do with Ozzy Osbourne. Their mascot's name is also Ozzy. So
that's a tough one.
A little bit of a tough scheduling of the Wizard of Ozzy night, but I'm sure they probably did something in remembrance of Ozzy Osbourne. But
I hope so.
This Cougars team not really off to the start that they were hoping coming back from being the defending champs. They dropped 2 of 3 to the Gary South Shore Railcats this past week. They did get 2 wins against a tough Kansas City Monarchs team, though. So it's kind of up and down for this.
Water finds its balance.
Yeah. Eventually it should. Yeah. So we'll see if the Kane County Cougars can continue getting wins here and hopefully eventually get back up into the top of the league. Like we were saying, you were saying the Dogs are on the road for a little bit here.
Yeah, Dogs are on the road up in Canada. They're in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg,
yeah. 4-game series there. Lost the first game, won last night 13-3. Obviously, the American Association just coming off of their All-Star game, their All-Star weekend as well. They had the Home Run Derby on Monday. They also had the All-Star game on Tuesday. That was, of course, after the Dogs had just got swept by the Lake County Dockhounds, who currently lead the East in the American Association. So still 2.5 games out for between first place and second place for the Dogs. Again, similar to the MLB season, still a ton of season left, still a ton of games left, so that they can get right where, it's kind of a little top heavy on the west side, where like 3 or 4 different teams are really, almost 40 plus wins. And then on the east, it's a little bit of I don't want to say a little lax, but it's a little bit less, where exactly the Dock Hounds and the Dogs are kind of holding it down. It's only a couple of game difference, so hopefully they can get right. Again, just hopefully get the power bats of Jacob Teeter going on in the second half. Hopefully Brantley Bell is back to being back to being healthy and everything like that. But again, getting back some guy like Johnny Turbo getting back in the lineup, so that's pretty fun too. Quickly, I don't know if we're going to be talking more baseball, so I wanted to piggyback to professional really quick about our guy Nick Kurtz over at the on the Oakland or Sacramento
4 home run game.
Yeah, I was just the only thing I was going to say was, well, close enough. Welcome back, Barry Bonds. Goes 6 for 6, 8 RBIs, 4 home runs. Hasn't been done by a rookie. So there you go, Nick Kurtz getting it done over in that. Like I said, I just didn't know if we were gonna have more time for some baseball. So
yeah, no doubt. He went 5 for 5 last night, and I believe he's the first rookie A's player to do so.
I believe so.
Since or actually, might be first rookie player to do so with the 4 home runs.
Yeah,
of course, guys have gone 5 for 5 before, but yeah, with the 4 home runs. So, but yeah, wow, what an incredible feat.
I think his line was like 6 for 6, 8 RBIs, 6 runs, and 4 home runs in total. So what a day, and a 15-3 win for the A's last night.
Who would have saw this coming from the Sacramento A's?
Yeah,
the Athletics, but. It was just as you were saying, though, switching back over into American Association, the Lake Country Dock Hounds holding a 2.5 game lead, a 38-26 record for 594 ball over the Chicago Dogs, who are 37-30, 552 ball. Dogs are 5-5 in their last 10 games. Dock Hounds 8-2, so they're starting to pull away a little bit here. The Kane County Cougars sitting in 4th with a 30-35 record, 462 baseball, 8.5 games back, so it's going to be a little bit more of a climb for the Kane County Cougars, but it is definitely still doable. They just got to pull themselves out. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They do have a couple of cool promotions coming up this next week. It'll be Superhero Night, Friday, August 1st. And then next Saturday, No Soup for You Night with Larry Thomas. So that'll be interesting. Followed by next Sunday will be Princess Day. So I know, Nick, you want to be in attendance. Don't worry.
I'll try.
But yeah, so an exciting time at the ballpark over at Northwestern Medicine Field as always. But we were kind of talking about this during the break. Both the American Association and the the American Association I think had it a little bit beforehand, but around the same time, the Frontier League and the American Association had their All-Star breaks. Too bad Brandon Combs is not here, because in the Frontier League, there was a bunt derby. I don't know if you saw that. They had a bunt derby. You had to try to get your bunt as close to the target as possible. There was also a gentleman, I forget which team he was from. I think it was from the Florence Yalls, that he threw his bat on a swing, like it slipped out of his hands. And there's a clock. There's a timer.
That's right, yeah.
So he had to sprint into the dugout because the bat went flying all the way into the dugout, grab his bat, and then he couldn't just kind of like pivot and stop because you're on metal cleats and who knows if those dugouts are wood or whatnot. But like he runs into the near entrance of the dugout, grabs the bat, and then you lose sight of him for a second, and he appears at the far end towards the outfield of the dugout and comes running back towards home plate to resume his stint at the plate.
I think he was able to get one more swing in, and he wasn't even fully in the box. He might not have even had both hands on the bat. He might have just kind of one-armed it and just kind of swung it out there. So, I mean, great effort right there. It's unfortunate that happens, but makes for a great web gem right there.
No doubt. And of course, we spoke last week to Kevin Santiago, the batting coach of the Windy City Thunderbolts. He and Toby Hall, manager of the Windy City Thunderbolts, had their remembrance of Bobby Jenks during their cancer awareness night. And listen, we talked about bad weather today. Last Saturday, after we jumped off the mics, there was supposed to be torrential downpour and flash flood warnings and all that going on in the Chicagoland area. I know myself and friends, we were headed up north into Wisconsin. They were supposed to get a lot of that there. There was a little bit of rain, probably around noon, 1 o'clock. All of a sudden, all that torrential downpour that was supposed to come towards the evening magically disappeared. So hopefully, I did reach out to Kevin Santiago. Hopefully that was the doing of a guardian angel looking over, the Windy City Thunderbolts. Bobby Jenks smiling down, getting the best seat in the house for such an emotional night, and I know everybody was very emotional there. They did get a chance to retire his 45 at Windy City and really honor him, as well as all of the cancer survivors and fighters at the ballpark that evening. So
really nice tribute from the team. Really nice. I saw some stuff online from the couple videos. Just really nice thing. Again, I mentioned the White Sox Pride and Passion page earlier when I was kind of chirping them, but again, they even a couple people also put up some really nice posts and sharing stuff within that. It was just really awesome to see, just overall. And again, just I don't know where everyone's at spiritually with everything like that, but again, it's moments like that where you're just like, maybe there's something. Maybe
Right.
there's again where maybe there's something out there for you to kind of figure out. So again, to each their own on that, but it just. That's really nice. Again, to have something planned out like that, you again, whatever the weather may be, and exactly that, for it to clear up and for everyone to have a nice day, for that to happen, win, lose or draw, just to have a great game like that, to have just an amazing tribute. That's what it's all about. And again, it's just like you said, just moments like that are bigger than the sport and the bigger than sports itself. That's what we kind of strive for and want the most. So again, it's a shame that it happened, but glad that they were able to make such a great tribute of it.
yeah, that weather was in the purple on the radar, and it just magically all cleared up. I mean, it was dead set for the Chicagoland area, and it just opened quite up. But speaking of opening up, and speaking of purple too, the Chicago Stars will open up the rest of their season coming here in August in just a moment, and it'll be the Orlando Pride that they'll have to face at Northwestern University. So they'll get a chance to play on the lakefront one more time. We've got all of your Star news and also some Fire news, as the MLS had their MLS All-Star game. That'll be coming up right here. You're listening to On the Rise, AM 1410 WRMN.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
The weather is getting better, and we know it's the time when ladders and DIYers come out. Before you start any new outdoor projects, ComEd wants you to know that electricity can jump from a power line to you and the tools you're using. So maintain a safe distance from any power lines. You can also call ComEd at 1-800-EDISON-1 to have those power lines de-energized the next time you do any type of work around them. Stay smart, stay safe, stay back. ComEd, powering lives.
A loved one owns a gun, and for a while now, you've been concerned about their behavior. They're just not acting like themselves. They've been distant, they've been unpredictable, they've been lashing out. They've been saying things that make you worried they might harm themselves or friends or family. Or you're worried this loved one might hurt you. Maybe they recently threatened someone with their gun. You know something needs to be done, and you wish more than anything you could hit pause on this situation. Well, here in Illinois, you can, with a firearm restraining order. In extreme cases, this order temporarily prevents a person in crisis from having a firearm, giving them time to heal before they do something dangerous or even deadly. If you are worried about a loved one in crisis who has access to a firearm, learn more about firearm restraining orders at illinois.gov/pause to heal. A public service announcement brought to you by the Illinois Department of Public Health, Brady, and the Ad Council.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
If your restaurant's grease is causing problems, don't worry. Hopkins Grease Company is here to help. Since 1947, they've been providing reliable grease recycling, grease trap services, and more for restaurants across the Chicago suburbs. With a full fleet and expert staff, they offer quick professional service. And as a family-run business, they pride themselves on delivering personal service you can trust. Call Hopkins Grease today at 847-458-1010. That's 847-458-1010. Hopkins Grease, the Fox Valley Grease Boys.
If your idea of therapy involves a fishing rod, a tree stand, or a campfire, then you need American Outdoors Radio. Host John Cruz speaks your language, whether it's about the best lures, tracking game, or that one buddy who always forgets to bring the beer. John's got the tips to sharpen your aim, the hacks to pack lighter, and the stories to keep you entertained. Again, that's American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz. Saturdays at 7 a.m. on WRMN 1410. Or stream it at WRMN1410.com. Get ready to outfish, outhunt, and outcamp 'em all on American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Myself and Nick Johnston here as we get into a little bit of soccer talk. The Chicago Stars are coming back into action here in August. Friday will be their first game after a month-long hiatus. They'll be taking on Gotham FC at home at 7 p.m. at SeatGeek Stadium, so go ahead and get your tickets now. But it's really their start to September that is circled on a lot of folks' calendars. It'll be the Stars on the lakefront against the Orlando Pride. It'll be a Sunday 2 p.m. start time, 2 p.m. kickoff against an Orlando Pride team that, of course, went on to win the championship last year in the NWSL, but also has had this Stars team's number for quite some time here. Orlando currently sitting at 8-1-4 with 25 points. The Stars still searching for their second win. They're 1-3-9 with 6 points. Oof, that's a little tough, but of course it's really hard when you lose one of your star players. Of course, it's a team game. You got to play with what you got, but and Ludmila has been nothing but phenomenal for this Stars team. However, you've lost Mallory Swanson. She is expecting their child. I believe it is their first child, her and Dansby's first child. So Dansby is still on the north side, killing it for the Cubs, but Mallory, she has to take a little bit of a hiatus for the time being, but hopefully the hiatus for the Stars is over and they can come out and find a second win on the season. There's a little bit of a hiatus for the MLS as well, as they took a pause for their All-Star game. Your lone Chicago Fire representative was Philip Zinkernagel, but it was the MLS All-Stars against the Liga MX All-Stars. So a little bit different than most All-Star games that you see. The MLS All-Stars did get the win 3-1. You didn't have any tallies from Zinkernagel, but still a good win. That was, I believe that was in Dallas that they held this game. So
is it similar to the MLB where every team gets a representative, or was he like voted in for sure to be an all-star?
You know, that I'm actually not sure. That's a good question.
Double check.
I would wager to say that there's a representative from each team, but I'm not sure. Zinkernagel did get an assist in this game though, so did find the scoreboard. And head coach Greg Berhalter for the Chicago Fire, his son played in this game, so that was exciting as well. Fire, though, will get back to the regular season. They have a match tonight in which they have a post-game concert with Chance the Rapper, so that'll be pretty cool. Hopefully the Fire can continue in the win column. They had a 2-0 win against CF Montreal. They had a draw with Atlanta FC, and then going 2 weeks back, they did lose 2-1 to San Diego.
And no, not every team in the MLS gets a representative, so congrats right there.
All right, well, Zinkernagel, good ups to you, my man, for making it in there and hopefully carrying that into the rest of this Fire season. They're 9-5-9. They're 10th in the MLS but you can climb quickly in that table if you string together a couple of solid wins. Let's see if the Sky can string together a couple of solid wins. We have Brian Teague joining us right here next on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise, and we'll be talking Sky and the WNBA All-Star right here on the Rise.
Hi there, Tammy Scully here from Talk Time with Tammy and Friends. Join me and my sidekicks Nancy and Becky for valuable lifestyle tips and unique views and insights on interesting topics and everyday situations, providing nonstop fun and chuckles for all. Get the scoop on consumer news, deep dive on current events, and learn about the newest economic trends, from exercise and gardening to music, travel, recipes, sports, pets, real estate, media, and everything in between. And it's all sprinkled with a healthy helping of bad dad jokes and interesting fun facts to boot. Tune in Mondays through Thursdays from 2 to 4 p.m. for a little fun, frolic, and infotainment. Join us, won't you?
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, the Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
For a little lighthearted lawlessness on Sunday afternoons, listen to Handle on the Law from 4 to 7 p.m. Handle on the Law is a unique combination of useful legal advice and outrageous handle remarks. Whether you're talking about Big Brother, big business, big legal problems, or Big Macs, you'll rarely find Bill without an opinion. His rapid-fire commentary gives listeners the information they crave in the way they crave it. It's Handle on the Law, Sunday afternoons from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Want to know what the shepherds did after they visited the Christ child? Read the short novel, The Good Shepherds, Christmas combat story by Michael Tooman. Available on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle editions. Check out Michael Tooman's webpage at Silink.net. That is PSYLINK.net. Papa Sierra Yankee, Lima India November Kilo. November Echo Tango.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise here, myself and Nick Johnston, but we are also joined now by a very well-known reporter here in the Chicagoland area from Chicago State of Mind. He is an absolute pleasure and a treat to talk to. We'll be talking a little bit of Sky here. Brian Teague, welcome to the show, my man. How are you, and how has been your last few weeks here with All-Star Game and getting back into WNBA as well?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's been a blur, man. It's been a blur. But, love every minute of it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, we wanted to start with the festivities from last week. We heard a lot from Indianapolis from our end of things, but you were actually there personally. So what did you take away from All-Star Weekend, and how were the festivities?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me from this All-Star Weekend, obviously this was my fourth All-Star Weekend. I think out of all of them, this was probably my favorite one to cover. Taking the game out of consideration, because I think a lot of people kind of, overblow what All-Star games kind of have become. But when I think about all of the networking that happens at these things, actually being able to have a little bit more access to the players that I think that we have had in previous All-Stars, I think that also helps, right? You had the stud buds that were there that were kind of letting the fans in and kind of getting everybody a little bit more insight to the players, because I think it's always important to humanize athletes. I think a lot of times, Mike, you know this from covering all the things you cover, is a lot of times the athletes aren't necessarily as forthcoming, right? They're a little guarded. And I think that this All-Star Weekend, I think that not only the media, but I think the fans, I think we all got a little bit more insight into these players, and I think that it was very helpful, especially with some of the things that they have going on with the league right now with the CBA and obviously a lot of the other things that are going around. I think it was really important for people to be able to I also kind of just see they kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and just kind of let everybody in. So it was really nice.
Yeah, you talk about everything that is coming up. We're gonna kind of touch upon that as well. But no Caitlin Clark for this All-Star Game, and we'll be talking about that as well, as the Sky are set to face her pretty soon here. But how was it? I mean, she's just one player. Of course, she is the face of the league. But Sabrina Ionescu kind of stepped up and was killing it in the three-point competition. And we saw a couple other stars on display even in that skills competition last weekend as well.
Yeah, I thought and for me, the way I look at this league, I think this league is comprised of so many great players. Obviously, Caitlin is one of them. But I just thought that, everybody, whether it's an Asia Wilson, whether it's an Afisa Collier, Neka, Angel Reese, I can go on and on, Sabrina. There were so many people that were kind of a part of that story for the weekend. And I just like the collective energy that was there. And even Caitlin, seeing her interact and engage with the other players. That's a side of her that you don't necessarily see. And again, so that's why I spoke to that earlier, just seeing that access and kind of seeing the players with their guards down a little bit and just kind of humanizing them all a little bit. I think that was really great for a lot of people to see, and everybody seeing their personalities kind of shine through.
Yeah, that's always a good thing, personality-wise. We saw a lot of it in the headlines, of course, because the shirts came out, and it was the Pay Us What You Owe Us shirts. And we had actually a question from our co-host, Brandon Combs, who couldn't join us here today, but also a very, very talented member of our group. I know he's probably a little under the weather today, but he's mostly covering for 670, and then he'll be at the the Crosstown games this weekend. But did you have it pulled up over there, Nick?
Yeah. The way that he had it phrased was in the league that operated with a $40 million loss the last year. Just how do you think the players should demand, or should the demands be held or heard by the league type deal?
Well, that's a great question, a very fair question. I think that when people bring up the issues of profitability, I think they also have to look at some of our companies out here in the world, whether it's a Spotify, right? I can go on and on. A lot of these companies aren't necessarily profitable as well, but they have huge valuations. And when I look at the WNBA, when you look at the expansion that's coming into this league, you guys see Portland coming into the mix, and you're seeing the Golden State Valkyries, how they came into the league, and the high fees that these franchises are having to pay to even enter into the league. So there's a huge influx of revenue that is coming into the league, and also the WNBA media deal. I mean, you guys saw the price tag on that, right? So my thing is, at a certain point, the league can't hide behind their revenue numbers, because we're starting to see a nice influx, and also the merchandising sales, right? At All-Star Weekend, the merchandise was literally flying off the shelves, whether it was at the events, whether it was at Gamebridge. So my biggest piece on that is, all right, at this point, we can't keep hiding behind the fact that, hey, over the last 10 years, the revenue has been X. Let's look ahead. The path ahead looks like there's going to be some major profitability, and you guys both know from seeing the talent that's at the college level, you're going to have a Juju Watkins coming up into the mix here in a couple of years. Hannah Adalgo, and there's just so many talented players. A.Z. Fudd. So my thing is the college game is only going to continue to keep infusing top talent into this league. And what do you guys think that's going to do to not only the popularity but to the revenue going forward?
Yeah, I guess.
So I think that I was going to say, and I think it's important for the players now to speak up before they put themselves into a CBA that locks them into some terms that aren't going to be favorable to them.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of more or less the basis for a lot of people's arguments online of like, oh, not profitable type deal. But I just want to ask you kind of your reaction to maybe the negativity that surrounded, the Facebook accountants online, the social media people that think they know numbers and profits that can talk business. But what was the overall reaction to maybe the negativity or even the positivity from just this big blow up from this All-Star weekend?
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, from being there and seeing when Brittany Sykes, when she unveiled the sign to pay the players, right? I thought it was powerful. I loved during the warm-ups when they took their jackets off and it basically said to the whole world, like, hey, we're here, we're united, pay us with yours. I thought it was powerful. I love that because my biggest thing is that when you have that solidarity, then you can't be broken. And I think that the league is in a really, really strong place. I do appreciate the fact that the commissioner and the players are at least keeping the dialogue open. And as Courtney Williams said it to the media on Saturday, I think it was on Saturday, she mentioned this is a tango, right? She's like, we're going to go back and forth, right? This thing isn't going to happen overnight, but at least the dialogue is there and they're having the conversations. But as far as the conversation we're having, it was awesome to see in that arena chanting "pay the players" while the commissioner was speaking during the Feast of College MVP presentation. So to me, that kind of said it all. That support was very evident inside that arena after the game on Saturday.
Wow, I didn't even realize that the whole arena was chanting as well. And you were talking about how the conversation has to be had. Well, we're leading into that CBA is the CBA is coming up. That's the collective bargaining agreement for those that don't know for the WNBA, and that will mean new rules and regulations as far as how much players are getting paid and what percentage of the revenue is going to the actual product on the court. But that also kind of sparks some questions for the Chicago Sky right here at home is with the new CBA and with Angel Reese's contract going to be coming up, do we maybe see the face of the franchise staying here in Chicago, or do you think that either Angel or the Sky would move on from each other? And do you think that there is something to build from here, especially with, like I said, all the new rules and regulations that'll come with the CBA?
Yeah, and so just to kind of speak to that, the CBA does expire on October 31st. And my thing when I look at Angel Reese and the partnership here in Chicago, Angel Reese loves Chicago, right? First and foremost, she loves it, and the city has obviously wrapped their arms around her. I think the biggest problem that Chicago has on its hands is going to be, Mike, attracting free agents, right? Every offseason, the main free agents haven't even looked our way. And that's not because of Angel Reese or Camilo Cardoso. It's because, as you guys saw the poll that came out from The Athletic, the Chicago Sky's front office, a lot of the things that they have as far as resources for players, they're always dead last in some of those key metrics that matter to a lot of these players. And when I was in Minneapolis, I got a chance to speak to Angel one-on-one, and I asked her, some of her main takeaways from All-Star Weekend, and the first thing that she said to me is she couldn't wait to get this information out to me, which I feel like was a message to the front office, a direct one. She said, when I'm talking to these other players, they're talking to me about some of the things they have, the resources they have. And she said, I don't complain a lot. But she said, when I have these conversations with all these top players around the league, I know the things that they have, and I know the things that they're not going to come to another organization that does not have those things.
Right.
So she said, I went back to the Sky in their front office, and I told them, we need these things. We have to put ourselves on equal footing with the rest of these teams, especially with a huge free agency coming up. So when I hear those type of comments, Mike, I hear that she's bought in, and I think she's bought in. But I also think that she's also kind of sending a really direct message to the organization that they need to step up right now.
I think that's just an overall thing with Chicago in general. Just free agents coming over here, whether that's Sky, Bulls,
thinking the same thing.
White Sox, Cubs,
Blackhawks even.
Yeah, it's just a struggle, it seems like, for free agents to come over. And I don't understand why. It's one of the 3 big major cities type deal. But I kind of wanted to just also kind of maybe flip that back to more general, just WNBA in general. In your opinion, is this maybe just the largest going from I'm tough to maybe word this one, but is this the largest, like, for the league to go from least amount of exposure to just bang #1 lead in on ESPN Sports Center, just constantly this has this again just the right direction for the WNBA in terms of connections, marketing, networking? Is this the right positive step forward for the WNBA?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've always been ready for it, and this is my 5th season covering it. I think the league deserves the coverage that it's getting, but one of my points I will say is I have not always liked some of the ways that the media has covered this league, right? Because I think there's been like some real bad negative connotations and misconceptions of how people speak about the league. These players, I feel like they deserve every bit of revenue and every bit of what the league has been able to make off of them. I believe they deserve that. But as far as their coverage is concerned, I think they're ready for it. I think they want it. They want to be covered the same way that their male counterparts are covered. And one of the things that I've talked to Mike about is the fact that I think our media, we could do a better job in how we cover them, right? We do them a disservice by not treating them the same way that we treat their counterparts. So I think they are ready for it. They want the coverage. They don't mind tough questions. They're willing to answer them. And as you can see on that main stage, they were not afraid, as they say, about the smoke that was going to come from that. They knew that there was going to be some discourse about, what they wanted to be paid. I mean, you guys brought it up on the show. That's been a major part of the discussion. But what people aren't talking about when it comes to these women that are playing this sport is the fact that they have to go over to China, they have to go over to Germany, or all these different countries. I mean, Candace Parker, one of the top 5 players of all time, was literally touring overseas in her off seasons. That should have never happened.
Yeah.
Imagine Ja Morant in the NBA having to play overseas in the offseason to supplement his income. No one's talking about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing against Ja Morant, but I think there'd be a couple of things he can't take on the plane with him over there. But all jokes aside, though, you're listening to AM 1410 WRMN. We're on the phone with Chicago State of Mind's very own Brian Teague. And Brian, you had mentioned about talking to Angel Reese in Minnesota. Of course, that was the stretch in which the Sky resumed after the All-Star break here. And it hasn't been great for this Sky team. They looked like they were building something, beating some of the top teams going into this All-Star break, and then bam, right after this All-Star break, it just seems like the wheels have fallen right back off the bus. An 86-49 loss to Atlanta last week, and almost that's a almost 40-point difference, and then a 91-68 loss to Minnesota, followed by a 95-57 loss to Seattle. So these aren't close losses. What is going on with this Sky team all of a sudden that they can't figure it out after the break?
Well, Mike, I mean, this has been a microcosm of their season, right? It's just been a bunch of inconsistent play, right? You had a bit of a promising stretch there when they had that wire-to-wire victory over the Lynx. I believe that was on July 12th. But since then, right, 4 consecutive losses by double digits, as you mentioned. I mean, let's just call a spade here. This is a rebuilding team that was masked as a team that can compete. And I think that what you see here is exactly what they are. They're a team that's flawed. They're a team that roster I don't think complements what its core players are able to do. While I think that they have good veterans on this team, I just don't think the roster fits. It doesn't make sense. There's been 8 different starting lineups over the course of the season, whether that's been due to injury or whether it's just been due to the coach trying to get his rotation in place. I think that's a part of it. But you also got to understand that it's a process in this league of developing and growing and kind of getting a team to where they have to get to. You have a first-year coach with a brand-new staff, and you have this influx of all these players that came into the mix. And also, let's talk about the fact that they get a week and a half to get set up for a season as well. So I feel like this team is still trying to figure itself out. It doesn't have an identity. If you ask the coach, if you ask the players, they're still trying to figure out what that identity is. We're in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I know some of my questions.
That's a problem.
No doubt. Some of my questions to the Sky head coach Marsh has been along those same lines. Is this the identity that and this is the culture that you're trying to instill? And I think you're right that we just kind of aren't quite there yet as far as that goes. But they better find it fast, because even without Caitlin Clark, who is quote still no timetable on a return from her injury, they will be in attendance tomorrow at the United Center for the second game against the Indiana Fever this season here in Chicago. Both games are at the United Center. Both games, Caitlin Clark out. So a lot of people traveling all over to see the superstar. Unfortunately, she won't hit the court in either of those United Center games, but a 2 p.m. start time tomorrow on ABC and ESPN+. I'll be there with our buddy Dalton Cooper here on the show. I know you'll probably be there as well. What do you think we can expect from this Sky team in this big of a game tomorrow at the United Center?
Well, one of the things you were speaking about injuries, obviously Caitlin's not playing, but we also still don't know what the status of Angel Reese is going to be. I'll be heading to practice here this afternoon to figure out a timeline on her back injury, right? So that's something that we also here in Chicago need to be kind of keeping our attention to. But we'll find out a little bit more details about that. I know that after the game on Thursday, Coach Marsh mentioned that he wanted to just see how she woke up on Saturday morning, just to kind of see where she kind of stood. And obviously, you guys both know those back injuries, those are things that you can't really trifle with too much. So I think they're going to be very careful. But as far as what to expect from this matchup, again, Mike, it's like what we've seen with this team before. Are we going to see the team that beat the Lynx on July 12th? Are we going to see the team that basically got demolished at home against the Storm? You don't know. Yeah. Like Rachel Bannon mentioned in the media thing, and you probably saw this. She said it feels gross. This is gross basketball. We know that, right? Well, of course, the fans feel the same way. They left the game in the early part of the fourth quarter because they got tired of watching it. And I'll tell you one thing. It was gross covering that game. And so my thing is, we don't know what team we're going to see. The Fever, they're playing good ball with Caitlin, without Caitlin. I mean, they have some formidable players over there. Chelsea Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston. They have some talent. They got great shooters and Alexi Hall. So my thing is, the areas that Chicago has struggled this season, a team like the Fever, they do all of those things to a very, very good level, right? And my thing is, inside, we were dominated by the Storm. The Storm basically had 48 points in the paint against the Sky on Thursday night. If they don't show those things up, what do you think the Fever are going to do on Sunday? They're going to pound the ball inside to Aaliyah Boston. And then what's that's going to do? That's going to open up the court for those shooters. So my biggest thing with the Sky, if they want a chance to hang in there with the Fever, they're going to have to protect the paint. They're going to have to defend the three-point line. They're going to have to get back in transition defense, which is another area that they've been super inconsistent. And also, lastly, Mike, the turnovers. You know this. They have not protected the basketball at all this season, right? And when you turn the ball over, what does that do? It weakens things for your defense, and then you're losing by 38 points, 39 points. So it's like, and then also, how do you expect to ever get into a flow offensively when you're turning the ball over like that? So my biggest thing is, as far as this game is concerned on Sunday, I don't know what to expect because I have been confused by this team all season.
Yeah, there has been a disconnect for the most part. So we'll see, like you said, if it is this team that figures it out like they have against some of the top teams, or if it is the team that has struggled even against some of the bottom feeder teams as well.
Yeah, I got another quick question here. About a couple weeks ago, we had Allie Quigley, had her number retired, number 14, up in the rafters.
Yeah.
Just kind of maybe too quick to judge, but do you maybe have an insight? Maybe who's the next number to be retired, or are we currently watching the next player that's going to have her number retired? Maybe number 5, and Angel Reese, who knows?
Ooh, I like that. So Candace Parker, her jersey is getting retired in August.
Ooh,
so she will be the second. She'll be the second player to have her jersey retired in Chicago.
Do we have a date for that game yet? Which game is it again?
I believe it's the 25th.
Okay, yeah. So that's at home against Las Vegas at 7 p.m. Oh yeah, it's on NBA TV. Okay, all right, yeah. So
sounds about right. Two of our
Parker.
former teams. So yeah.
Yeah. That'll be amazing. So I'm glad we can add another number into the rafters. Brian, this has been amazing. If you're tuning in with us, we are on the phone with Chicago State of Mind's very own Brian Teague. Brian, I'm super excited to see you at the United Center tomorrow and get this game underway, regardless of who is or isn't hitting the court for either side of things. But thank you again for jumping on. And where can people find you?
Yes, so we are on all of the social platforms, Chicago State of Mind Sports, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, you name it, right? So we're on all those places. And we also have a publication, Chicago State of Mind Sports, is on Substack. We have free and we also have paywall content. But like I said, we definitely would appreciate anybody that wants to take a look at our work. We're all independent over here and work very hard. And Mike and Nick, thank you so much for not only having us on, but for the thoughtful conversation this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you. Always a pleasure to speak with you, and so good that we could get you on, and tell our main man Marcus to get you on more if we don't. So we'll be talking to you soon. That's awesome. That's
man.
Thanks for talking to us.
Appreciate
That was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Teague of Chicago State of Mind joining us again. Thank you again, Brian Teague. But we got a couple of minutes to wrap up the show, and there's been a lot going on this week, and I think it's going to apply to our Mamma Mias, our Brandon Combs Mamma Mia segment as we wrap things up here. But I'll shoot it over to you because you have a heartfelt one.
Yeah, some unfortunate passings away this past week. Obviously, the one that got it started was the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, passing away. At the age of 76, I believe. Just, again, the outpouring online was amazing with all the different videos and pictures, collabs, and everything like that. Again, where the social media is a cesspool of just negativity sometimes, but it is really nice when people come out and just, again, on top of it, able to perform in his last show. Absolutely awesome to really see that. And then followed up, not even 48 hours afterward, was Hulk Hogan passing away as well.
Yeah.
Just two really big, just honestly, just two huge icons in both American, just in culture in general. I know Ozzy's from England and whatever, but he's made most of his impact over here, honestly. So
yeah,
it's just an absolute shame again. Did Hulk Hogan have the best social things afterward? No, but again, to deny the impact that he had on honestly just sports in general, not just sports entertainment and wrestling, but just sports in general, and making it the big icon that he is. So it's Mamma Mia. It's just a shame that happens, but again, the outpouring online is nice, and there was a couple other passings too. Someone lost. There was a jazz performer that passed away. Also,
yes, I'm drawing a blank on names. Some of them were Italian too, because it was Hardcore Italians on Instagram. A little shout out to friends of ours that.
When the actress from the Bill Cosby Show passed away too, Huxtable.
Yeah. Of course, we already talked about Ozzy Osbourne there, but also Bobby Jenks, who we referenced earlier on in the show. So it's tough to see anybody go, and it feels like they've been one after the other here as of late. So unfortunate circumstances. I remember Hulk Hogan even going on to talk with the Tampa Bay Lightning ahead of some of their Stanley Cup runs, because he was resident down there in Florida. So just a shame. And of course, Ozzy Osbourne. It's funny that he kind of knew, right? Despite not kind of always being there towards the end, but he had that farewell, quote unquote, tour, which was really just one giant farewell show, and farewell it was. So unfortunate there, and our thoughts and prayers to Shannon and the whole rest of his family as well. Sharon. My Mamma Mia will be this weather, because later on tonight, the Schaumburg Hockey League will be having its 14th annual game. I'll be playing in it. It'll be USA versus Canada, some outdoor roller hockey. So get on over to Timbercrest Park at 7 p.m. between the raindrops to see some of the best hockey here in the state of Illinois. That is everything for this week. It's been a pretty exciting week worth of sports. Continue to tune in to watch the Crosstown and all that glorious baseball that we got going on here as we get down to the stretch. But Nick Johnston, thank you for jumping in here, man, with me this morning.
You.
And we'll get Brandon Combs back, as well as Dalton Cooper next week. Right up next here, you'll be listening to The Truth About Chicago Sports with Marcus Mack, Blake Cowell, and Sophia Blackburn. But this has been another edition of AM 1410's On the Rise. Thank you again to Brian Teague, AM 1410 WRMN.
Hey, Tammy, I just made an AI fact checker for the show. Do you want to try it out?
Sure. Talk Time with Tammy and Friends is the best show on WRMN.
Oh, Talk Time with Tammy and Friends is the best show on WRMN, huh? What a bold, subjective opinion masquerading as a fact. Sure, I bet you and all 12 of her fans feel that way. While I can confirm the show exists, yay for reality, its best status is completely debatable. And yes, congratulations, it does air Monday through Thursday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Let me know when Tammy wins an Emmy or something. Until then, this is a hard nope on objectivity. Grade 310. Fact, Talk Time with Tammy and Friends airs weekdays, Monday, Thursday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on WRMN. Try again when you want to talk about facts, not fangirling.
I'll work on it.
You better.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 10 o'clock.